Okay, welcome to Starcross Kings. Price decided that he's ridiculous, so rather than continuing to defend his throne, we are going to see a power struggle. And winners of the raffle today are going to be lucky contenders Antilles and Jesulin.
That's it. Point's ours.
With Antilles playing as allies here in Game 1, Jesulin playing as Axis in Game 2. We're going to see Antilles, of course, going with U.S. forces for his allied game. The map is Minsk Pocket. Jesulin going with Oberkommando West, which on this map I find surprising, and he's going to go Elite Armor. Might be looking at a bit of an attempt at Coco Jambo here by Jesulin. I wonder if he can pull it off. He insta-locked that, which is highly unusual, and I hope he hasn't underestimated his opponent because Antilles is not really considered to be on Jesulin's level in this game, I don't think, but his U.S. forces play is certainly dangerous. He's not an easy win by any means, so I don't know. I mean, Jesulin is an excellent player, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off elite armor against Antilles Infantry Company, for example, which he has utilized to good effect in the past, so let's see if Jesulin can pull it off. Barbed wire going down over here on the right side, and Volksgrenadiers moving up to back cap over there. These Volksgrenadiers throwing green cover on the VP, and Antilles is setting up a bit of a push right here, rotating his rear echelon troops into the front, so they'll soak up damage for these riflemen on their charge. They will catch the Volksgrenadiers here building. So that engagement looks like it's won. Support's not going to arrive in time. Meanwhile, on the right side, rifle squad caught Stern Pioneers building. Did managed to catch one model before Jesulin reacted. This ghost did not manage to complete either, and over here in the center, Volksgrenadiers had no choice but to retreat, so Antilles is already off to a very strong start since this squad was late to support and this squad was backcapping. Antilles is already going to be putting a little bit of light pressure on the fuel point, but it looks like Jesulin will be able to stop it with his Stern Pioneers moving to support. And this rifle squad still tied up, destroying that ghost, isn't going to be able to catch up to the engagement in time. Riflemen stick around to try and win the engagement against these Stern Pios, but it looks like they're going down too fast. They have no choice but to retreat. The SWS is moving to try and push the rear echelon troops around here, but they're probably going to be fine. It doesn't look like Antilles wants to retreat just yet. He just popped volley fire on the truck, which does increase their rate of fire, but I don't think it does anything significant to actually help them DPS that truck down. Clearly that didn't even come close to threatening Jesulin. Apparently with elite armor you can repair this. At 4 CPs you can use emergency repairs on an SWS half-track for 50 munitions. What a bargain. Over here on the right side, riflemen jump into this yellow cover, which halts their capture of the right side munitions point, but they will win the engagement against these Volksgrenadiers, probably at pretty much any range. But Antilles disengages to finish the capture of this munitions. His munitions control is looking pretty good. Went with a 3 rifle opening, in addition to his 2 rear echelons, which is pretty standard. And he's actually going to go Lieutenant tier. I know Antilles is generally a fan of Captain tier, but he's going to switch up his strategy a little bit this game, go for a more early aggression build. Might see an M20 out of him in the near future.
The command vehicle has gone static. HQ operations
Tier 2 up for Jesulin here on the fuel point, so Antilles definitely just spotted that, and that's going to mean that his decision to go Lieutenant tier was the correct one. Captain tier is a slightly safer option against Tier 3. Against Tier 2, he should theoretically be able to overwhelm this position with light vehicle pressure. Last time we saw Antilles, he went double AA half-track against Price. Maybe he's going to try and execute that strategy again, this time against Jesulin. If he has slightly better light vehicle management, maybe he can set up an aggressive containment similar to the way he did in that series yesterday or 2 days ago. And I think he almost had that game, but he unfortunately made a few small mistakes that cost him his light vehicles a little too early. Grenade toss right there. Late reaction by Antilles. It looks like that will shut down this push. Without a forward retreat point unlocked yet, Jesulin is going to have to retreat all the way back to base, though.
An
Munitions control looking much better for Jesulin now. He's taking control of both flanks, doing good harassment on the left and right sides simultaneously, yet winning engagements in the middle, despite the fact that he has only a small portion of his forces fielded there, primarily due to the fact that Antilles has a lot of squads off the field. Once he reinforces all of these squads, sends them in with the support of this AA half-track that he's building, he should be able to make a very decisive push somewhere. It looks like he's not planning on fielding all of his forces towards the battle group, though. He will spread himself out and try and retake the flanks. Since he knows there's at least one squad on the flanks, he's sending combat-capable squads, sending a rifle squad over here instead of just a minesweeper, for example. 2 squads of rear echelon troops should, even though they're wounded, probably be able to win against a wounded squad of Volksgrenadiers on the flank, especially with volley fire. So this harassment attempt will probably be pretty successful, especially if Jesulin does not, of course, move to react. They'll be capping at double speed. And then Lieutenant Rifleman moving up to defend the fuel point. And Jesulin's push for this area will definitely not succeed once the AA half-track arrives, but until it does, Stern Pioneers are going to do very nice damage right there. Get a huge burst off on that squad of riflemen. Lieutenant drops 1 model. And all Volksgrenadiers are blobbed right there. Try and shut Antilles down, push him back into the base. With the Rakettenwerfer set up right there, the AA half-track's movements will be a little bit limited. Antilles needs to be careful. This squad of riflemen gets focused down pretty quickly. Lieutenant drops 2 Sternpile models, but it looks like he's going to lose the engagement before support arrives from that AA half-track. The right flank is getting taken quite quickly there, and this engagement looks like it will go to Jesulin unless Antilles reacts somehow. He's being engaged from green cover. Try and just move out of range a little bit. But that engagement looks like it's already lost. And the AA half-track, rather than trying to recover the fuel point, is just going to go straight down the left side, start working on this over here. So this engagement is not, or this not engagement, but this entire game looks like it's going in Jesulin's favor quite hard. Mostly because Jesulin is being so much more successful in setting up engagements that he will win. Nobody has suffered any wipes, and I don't think manpower bleed is too much in anybody's... Wow, okay, never mind. It's very much in Jesulin's favor. That might even be a wipe right there. Wipe! Huge lead for Jesulin with that wipe. And it pretty much just comes down to Antilles' failure to set up 2v1s, set up favorable engagements, continually getting pushed back into his base, and his early light vehicle has not had a very dramatic impact. In fact, it hasn't engaged anything at all. So Antilles absolutely needs to make some sort of dramatic push. He needs to probably pick up a wipe on a retreating squad with his autocannon somehow to try and bring this game back into equilibrium, because right now he is extremely behind and he needs to change that, or he's going to struggle later on. He is, of course, against elite armor. Oh no, oh no. Okay, he managed to squeeze through. I thought it might not be able to fit through that gap. Rakettenwerfer might get cleared. If Antilles picks this up with solid micro, which he will need to be careful, but as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. I don't think it can fire while pinned, right? Ooh, it did fire. Didn't connect, fortunately. AA half-track should be able to get to safety. But he wasn't able to pick that up, but his AA half-track gets to safety, which is the more important thing. He's also gone with a 50 cal, which should help shut down Jesulin's pushes up the middle, especially when clumping his squads, of course. 50 cal will suppress that squad. AA half-track not fully repaired, needs to be very careful. If it engages at half health, it could get one-shotted by the Rakettenwerfer. We'll pull back for repairs here in the north. Left side being retaken by some vetted riflemen. They should be able to take everything on the left uncontested, which might actually even be a waste of that squad, but at least Antilles will get some territory back. Same with this squad. Jesulin working the flanks with his Stern Pioneers and Volksgrenadiers simultaneously. Lieutenant trying to move up and provide vision for the 50 cal, which will suppress a couple squads, but they're now, I think, just out of that 50 cal's range. And Lieutenant by himself isn't going to do any serious damage and should probably retreat. I'm not sure. Okay, Antilles is monitoring the engagement. She sees is not going well. Also, I think his AA half-track is just having difficulty pathing through the center of this map. The fact that it's already unwieldy just because you have to reverse it everywhere, and it's weird AI, combined with Minsk Pocket having trees and shrubs and logs everywhere, make it a pretty difficult unit to use gracefully on this map, and I think we can see that this game. 50 cal got caught out of position, forced to retreat, didn't have any supporting infantry, and Jesulin will advance up the middle and retake the center of the map. And here comes the Jagdpanzer. I think when you go elite armor, Jagdpanzer is almost a requirement. Trying to survive on Panzerschrecks and Raketenwerfers alone just generally does not tend to work, but because you have to go Jagdpanzer, it means your call-ins are going to be extremely late or maybe not arrive at all, which is one of the reasons why this commander is one of the many reasons why this commander is considered not great. Here comes double AA half-track. I want to say this is a nicely executed flank, but I don't think Antilles was ready for the fact that there's a Jagdpanzer here, which is going to be the death of that flak half-track for sure, and there it goes.
The enemy has cut our supply chain. The resource sector has been isolated.
Because the Jagdpanzer has arrived, that basically means Antilles has failed to apply enough early pressure with his light vehicles. He might be able to pick this up if he would just pay attention. I'm not sure even what he's doing, and it looks like this will be destroyed. Meanwhile, another wipe on the right side. Rear echelon troops just got picked up. AA half-track's about to get picked up. And Antilles is reduced to 2 rifles of 50 cal and his lieutenant, which is definitely not a force with which he can win this game. That's probably GG. And he will surrender. Entire game pretty much shut down by a Jagdpanzer, and unfortunately we didn't really get to see elite armor features utilized this game. Jesulin just hard countered Antilles' strategy and outplayed him in the early game, so Antilles didn't have enough of a map control advantage to justify his light vehicle pressure build. He really needed to execute a lot more effectively. That gives Jesulin a 424 VP victory there in game 1. Has access on Minsk Pocket, which Antilles will now have to try to beat.